I never imagined my brother's wedding would end with a slap across the face, and not just anywhere, but right in front of 200 stunned guests. All because I refused to hand over the house that Grandma left specifically to me. In that moment, as Vanessa's hand, my brother's bride, struck my cheek, Mom leaned in and hissed, "Don't make a scene, just leave quietly." That's what I did. But what happened the next day changed everything. Like this video if you've ever been through something like this in your own life. Okay, let's enjoy the story. Grandma Helen wasn't just family to me. She was my rock. The closest person in my life, closer even than my own mom. From childhood, I spent almost every weekend at her old 2-story house with a veranda and garden on the edge of town. I'd help her tend the flower beds, learn to bake her signature pies in the cozy kitchen with white tiles, listen to her stories on the swings on the veranda as the sun set beyond the horizon. My brother James, 3 years older than me, never showed much interest in Grandma. Even as a kid, he'd make excuses: soccer practice, homework, or just boredom sitting with an old lady. It only got worse over time. When James left for college, he'd only visit on holidays, and even then, barely. After graduation, he came back to our hometown, got a job at a bank, but showed up at Grandma's no more than twice a year, more out of duty than real care. Meanwhile, I built my adult life around Grandma Helen. After university, I found a job teaching elementary school just 20 minutes from her house. I'd visit 3 or 4 times a week, help with groceries, take her to doctors, or just sip tea and chat about everything under the sundae. When she was diagnosed with cancer 5 years ago, there was no question for me. I became her main support. I switched to part-time work to drive her to chemo, manage her meds, care for her at home. James visited Grandma just twice during all that time, once when he heard about the diagnosis, and once a week before she passed. Our parents came more often, but their care felt like an obligation. When Grandma left us 3 years ago, it shattered me. She was more than a mom to me. Mom always cared more about what people thought than real closeness. The will shocked everyone except me. Grandma left me the house, most of her savings, and her personal belongings. James got her car, which he sold right away, and a small sum. "You got the house?" Mom fumed. "It should be shared." Dad just quietly stopped her. It was Helen's decision. She knew what she was doing. James said almost nothing that day, but from his clenched lips and cold stare, I knew. He thought he deserved half, even without ever truly connecting with Grandma. For me, the house wasn't about money. It was my link to her, a memory. I decided right away to move in and restore everything that once made it beautiful. Every spare moment and all my savings went into repairs, painting walls, sanding floors, replacing pipes, but I tried to preserve it all. Even the old finish tiles in the kitchen. The house became my true sanctuary. About 6 months after I moved into Grandma's house, James unexpectedly dropped by. He strolled slowly through the rooms, nodding approvingly at the fresh paint, new floors, tidy garden outside. "Listen," he said suddenly, leaning against the kitchen table. "This house is probably worth 10 million now, if not more. If you sold it, we could split it and get nice apartments, start fresh lives." I nearly dropped my teacup. "James," I replied calmly, "this is my house. Grandma left it to me because she knew how much it means." "What kind of person are you?" His voice hardened. "It's unfair that you got everything. We're both her grandkids." In that moment, I realized this house would forever be a source of hidden resentment between us. But I had no idea that with Vanessa, James's fiancée, things would get so much worse. James met Vanessa at a bank corporate event where he worked. From the first minute he talked about her, I sensed she was nothing like his previous girlfriends. Before, he'd date ambitious but straightforward women. Vanessa, at 32, already held a good position at a big construction firm. Her looks, style, manners all screamed status and money. I first met her at a Sunday family dinner at our parents' about a year after Grandma's death. She arrived in an expensive coat with a handbag that could cost my monthly salary. Perfect smile, manners straight from a glossy magazine. Our parents were instantly charmed. James mentioned, "You live in Grandma's house." Vanessa started over tea. "Probably in some historic district." I told her about the street, the house, how I was preserving it all. "I know that area." Vanessa's eyes sparkled. "Those houses are real gems if restored right. Surely a great investment now." That was the first red flag. Her interest was only in value, not family history. James and Vanessa's relationship moved fast. 3 months after meeting, they announced their engagement, and 6 months later, set the wedding for the coming fall. Mom was thrilled, bonded with Vanessa right away, chatting about future grandkids, the wedding dress, the banquet. Dad was pleased too. By his words, James had finally met a serious woman. As wedding prep started, Vanessa's interest in my house turned almost obsessive. She'd drop by casually, supposedly on errands or near a client. One time, she walks in smiling. "As a pro, I have so many ideas to upgrade this house. I'd help make it perfect for renting or selling." Another time, over tea in my kitchen, she says, "James and I have been house hunting forever. Everything's too pricey. Imagine how great it'd be if we bought this from you. It'd stay in the family. And you could find something simpler for a single girl." I nearly choked. "Vanessa," I said firmly, "I'm not selling. To me, it's not just walls." Her smile vanished for a second. Eyes turned cold, but she recovered. "No big deal, just suggesting. Maybe you'll think about it." As the wedding date neared, Vanessa and Mom pressured me harder. At every family dinner, Vanessa brought up the house. "It'd be great if we all helped each other. Such big space wasted on one person. James grew up here. It's family history." Mom echoed daily. "Emily, don't be selfish. James is starting a new life. Support your brother. Give him a truly valuable gift." I looked to James, hoping he'd speak up, but he just stayed silent, acting like it was fine. That night, I realized a real fight for my house was ahead, and no one would back me but myself. The pressure built daily. What started as innocent hints and talks of family support turned into outright demands and manipulation. Mom fully allied with Vanessa. Every day, she'd call with new reasons why I had to give up the house. "James is the head of the family. He needs his own home for a new family." She'd insist one morning. "What an egoist you are, Emily. How would Grandma see this? You seized the house, leaving your brother with just resentment." I tried calmly explaining that Grandma left it to me knowingly, that I was the only one who truly cared for her, but my words vanished into thin air. "Real families don't do this," Mom brushed off. "In a true family, everyone shares and sacrifices for loved ones." Dad, as usual, tried not to get involved. "Mom just wants everyone happy," he'd say when I complained about the pressure. His neutrality only worsened things. I felt utterly alone. James barely talked to me about the house. He let Vanessa and Mom handle all negotiations, pretending to keep peace. Sometimes, alone with me, he'd sigh heavily. "Ah, if only there was a way everyone could be content." The boiling point hit about 3 weeks before the wedding. I came home from work to see Vanessa's fancy SUV and 2 luxury cars at the gate. Entering, I froze in shock. Vanessa was giving a tour of my house to a stranger couple. "Original finishes preserved here," she explained, showing the living room. "And the kitchen we planned modern style with historic accents." I stood at the door, barely holding back anger. Vanessa didn't even flinch. "Oh, Emily, perfect timing. Meet Marina and Dimitri, our friends. They've wanted to see the house forever." "Everyone out," I said quietly, clenching fists. "Now." The guests mumbled and hurried off, sensing the mess. As soon as the door shut, Vanessa's polite mask dropped. "You're being so rude, Emily. These are respected people in town," she snorted. "And you think it's okay to tour strangers through someone else's home without asking? How'd you even get in? James kept keys from Grandma's days. You'll hand over this house soon anyway. What's the point of drama?" I'm tired of repeating. I'm not selling or gifting my house. Not for any money, not as a present. Stop this madness. Her eyes narrowed, and to my astonishment, she burst into tears, not real, but theatrical, like for an audience. Later, I learned she called Mom right after, claiming I threw her and friends out. My phone rang almost immediately. How could you treat Vanessa like that? Mom screeched without hello. She's trying to join the family, and you're shaming us. Grandma would roll in her grave. I tried explaining, but Mom had decided. I was the only villain. The last talk before the wedding set everything straight. That weekend, Mom insisted on a family dinner for reconciliation. We gathered at the parents' apartment. Me, James, Vanessa, and them. Tension was palpable. Mom broke the silence first. Emily, we need to discuss your wedding gift for James and Vanessa. Mom, nothing to discuss, I said calmly. I've said it before, I'm not giving my house. Your stubbornness crosses all lines, she interrupted. They're starting a new life. They need a real family home. And you're alone in that big place, which by rights should be shared with your brother. This house was willed to me, I reminded for the umpteenth time. Grandma would want you to show generosity and support your brother, Mom persisted. James finally chimed in. Emily, be reasonable. This house is too big for one girl. Vanessa and I will breathe new life into it. I looked at my family's faces. Disapproving mom, frowning dad, expectant brother, Vanessa with her offended look. In that moment, I felt truly alone. I don't want to discuss this anymore. I'm not giving the house. If you don't respect my decision, maybe I shouldn't come to the wedding. Don't make a spectacle, Mom hissed. You'll be at the wedding and behave decently. Family reputation matters. I left that dinner with a heavy heart. For the first time, feeling without support from even my closest. The wedding was days away. I couldn't imagine the worst was still ahead. The wedding day dawned sunny, like ordered. Everything as Vanessa dreamed. No clouds, light breeze, fancy out-of-town restaurant, dozens of guests. I arrived at 9 a.m. as asked, with the bridesmaid dress. Anxiety churned inside. The dressing room buzzed. Makeup artists, hairdressers, photographers, Vanessa's friends, all focused on the bride. Emily, you're late? Mom pounced, though I was on time. It's fine. Just make sure she's ready for photos, Vanessa noted calmly, eyeing me in the mirror. Smile sickly sweet, eyes ice cold. The next 5 hours were pure trial. Fake smiles, strained politeness, outsider jokes and chats where I didn't fit. When the photographer wanted a shot of the bride with her future sister-in-law, Vanessa diverted. No time. James floated all morning in Vanessa's orbit. Her whims. In a rare alone moment, I tried talking. Nervous? He glanced where Vanessa bossed waiters. Main thing is everything as she wants. She deserves it. James, are we even okay? Feels like a wall between us. Not the day for fights, Emily. Just act normal. The ceremony went flawlessly, like rehearsed hundreds of times. White roses, live orchestra, lavish bride's gown, 200 guests. I tried rejoicing for my brother, but inside it hurt. Banquet started at 5 p.m. in the grand hall. Chandeliers gleaming, tables groaning with treats, luxurious bouquets everywhere. I sat with parents and distant relatives. After dinner, toasts began. James's friend first. Touching, humorous, about friendship and finding the one. Then, Vanessa's friend, casually noting Vanessa always gets what she wants. Words seemed harmless, but chills ran down my spine. Suddenly, Vanessa grabbed the mic unplanned. Dear guests, she started confidently, scanning the room. Thanks for being here on this special day. James and I are thrilled to be surrounded by such close, genuine people. Applause. Special thanks to my new family, Richard and Linda, you're already like parents. Air kiss to them, Mom beamed. And I want to thank Emily, all eyes on me. James's sister is preparing a special wedding gift for us. And now's the perfect moment to thank her for such generosity. I went cold. What was she plotting? Everyone knows Emily inherited Grandma's house. And in true family love, She's gifting it to us. It'll be our family hearth." The hall erupted in applause. Many smiled. Mom nodded. Dad looked puzzled. James stared at his plate. The mic was in my hands. Vanessa loomed with perfect smile, eyes piercing, challenging. "Want to say a few words, Emily?" she asked sweetly. Hall fell dead silent. Heart pounded in my throat. This was a trap. Agree or look like a wicked sister to 200 people. I rose slowly. "Seems there's a misunderstanding," I said as calmly as possible. "I wish James and Vanessa happiness. But the house isn't a gift. Grandma willed it to me, and I want her memory with me." Oppressive silence rang. "Emily's just being modest," Vanessa laughed sharply. "We've discussed this for months." "No, Vanessa," I cut in firmly. "We never agreed on anything like that. It's my house, and I'm not giving it." Vanessa's mask crumbled before all. Face twisted in rage. "How dare you?" She nearly hissed into the mic. Selfish, ungrateful. Then came what I never expected in my worst nightmare. Vanessa's hand flew up and slapped my cheek hard, ringing, staggering me back. Gasps swept the hall. Someone dropped a glass. I stood stunned, humiliated. Face burned, but tears were from shame, not pain. Mom grabbed my arm not to comfort. "Don't turn this into a circus. Just leave quietly." James sat silent the whole time, not even rising when his wife publicly struck his sister. I gathered my dignity, grabbed my purse, and left under 200 stares. Some shocked, some whispering, some watching curiously. Outside, I finally let tears flow. The drive home blurred like fog. I felt like watching from afar. That night, I fell asleep in my dress, on the couch in Grandma's house, amid beloved walls that suddenly caused all this woe. I woke with swollen eyes and soul-crushing weight. For seconds, I forgot, but then it crashed. Vanessa's lie, the slap, Mom's icy whisper, brother's indifference, that shameful exit before 200 guests. Phone was off. I wanted no talks overnight. Now, 27 missed calls, 43 messages. Mostly Mom's, but some from James, Dad, even wedding friends. I brewed strong coffee and read. Mom's messages sharpened line by line. "How could you disgrace our family? Come back immediately and apologize to Vanessa. You ruined your brother's celebration with your selfishness." James's matched. "All you had to do was support me that day. Thanks for spoiling the wedding." Vanessa's in tears. "Call her and apologize." Dad's short. "We need to talk about what happened. Call when ready." While reading, a new message from Vanessa, group sent to all guests. "Dear friends, James and I are so sorry for the unpleasant incident at our celebration. It breaks our hearts that Emily, after promising us a valuable gift, publicly backed out and caused a scene. Please support us in this tough time. Honeymoon in Hawaii goes as planned." I nearly hurled the phone in rage. What audacity to lie like that and paint me as guilty to everyone. Then the phone rang. Mom. Saw what Vanessa wrote? Everyone's talking. My friend called asking what's wrong with you. This is a nightmare for our family. I tried explaining. Mom, Vanessa's lying. I never promised them the house. She slapped me in front of everyone. Why am I the bad one? You could have pretended for the family just once, Mom's voice seethed. Now everyone's gossiping about us because of you. Dad and I want no part in your messes. If you don't apologize to Vanessa right away and think about settling the house issue, I felt everything inside tighten. Hours later, I saw Vanessa's long, pretty social media post portraying herself as victim, me as greedy, vengeful, unstable. Under wedding photos, comments piled, family first. So sad the party was marred by such nonsense. It felt like a nightmare where even friends believed Vanessa. Toward evening, a neighbor called the one at the wedding with James's colleague. Emily, sorry to bother. Just checking on you after yesterday. Listen, it all seemed off from the start. Vanessa's been telling everyone for months she'd move into your house post-wedding. She even invited us for a housewarming there. Housewarming? I nearly dropped the phone. She'd invited guests to my home. Yes. Plus, she showed photos, talked repairs, sewed curtains for your windows. 2 months ago, she took us to see the facade. Said you were just dragging the handover. I thanked her and hung up. Everything wasn't random outburst. Vanessa had played this game behind my back, prepping moves, planning without right. Throughout the day, more guests called, some sympathetic, some curious. Gradually, it emerged Vanessa told different people different lies. To some, house will to both, but I tricked it to myself. To others, I promised the gift, now had mental issues. Later, my cousin called, overhearing Vanessa and James pre-wedding, discussing huge spends on furniture. Repair crew for my house now stuck if I didn't yield. So they'd invested in a non-owned house. Now it clicked why they freaked, escalating to public scandal. By evening, resentment turned to anger. They'd branded me crazy, humiliated me, dragged me into schemes just because Vanessa decided my house was her trophy. I vowed no more manipulation. Let them think they won, but now I'd counterattack. Next day, while Vanessa and James flew for honeymoon, I acted. First, I needed to know who I dealt with. What seemed coincidences, her bold push, love for others' money, deceit now formed a clear scheme. I started online. Her socials, construction firm site where she worked. Quickly found the firm belonged to her dad. Position by connections. Career tales just facade. I dug deeper. A friend studied with Vanessa in college. Called her. What do you know about Vanessa Reed? You mean our famous gold digger? Friend laughed. She always picked rich guys, squeezed gifts, then dumped. One even got stuck with loans. She convinced him to buy her a car, then vanished. The more I learned, the surer. My house saga was her usual tactic. I needed proof not just to save my house, but open families' eyes. Hired a private investigator for Vanessa's past, relationships, financial schemes, men links. While waiting, consulted a lawyer on slap and public accusations. Legally, grounds for suit on insult and slander, he said. Public, with witnesses. But no, it'll be long, noisy. I held off suit. Wanted ironclad evidence first. 3 days later, investigators report. Facts that made my hair stand. Vanessa engaged twice before both to men from wealthy families, both times leaving when property grab failed. Last case. Months manipulating a guy to get his grandma to add her to will. When failed, huge scandal and gone. I got contact for one ex, almost mother-in-law, called, heard chilling words. I've waited for someone to ask about Vanessa. She's a pro at wrecking families for gain. From talk. Vanessa always used same tricks, win parents' trust, sabotage grooms' close ties, if no property, turn all against each other and flee, leaving debts. Puzzle complete. Vanessa targeted the house from start. If failed, paint me monster and bolt with debts. Now, armed with proofs, witnesses. Just needed smart use. I compiled printouts. Vanessa's threat screenshots, wedding guest statements, investigator copy, social lies printouts. All in a folder. Unexpectedly, Dad became first ally. Called a week post-wedding. Emily, Mom doesn't know I'm calling, he started reserved. But something feels off. Vanessa's stories contradict. I seized. Dad, I have proof who this woman really island. Please look. Then judge. Your mom thinks you're just jealous of your brother's happiness. Dad, Vanessa slapped me publicly. Launched a smear campaign. Lied about the house everywhere. Is that normal? He paused long. Then agreed to meet next day at a cafe. I brought materials. Dad reviewed silently. Face darkening page by page. Finishing. I couldn't imagine. Thought it was jealousy. Fatigue, but it's all calculated. Dad, main thing. James learns truth soon. They can still annul without heavy fallout. Help me, I can't alone. Dad promised to coax James to my house for full talk. When James came, he was wary, irritated. I'm here only 'cause Dad insisted. Until you apologize to Vanessa, nothing to discuss. Before deciding, read this. I handed the folder silently. He brushed off at first. More accusations, not interested. Dad firm. James, sit and read to end. Then conclude. Brother flipped pages, irritated grin, fading, tensing, paling. At X's letter, froze, staring. This can't be, he whispered. Vanessa wouldn't. There are debt extracts. Orders for repairs on my non-owned house. I added softly. She lied to you, the family, all along. James silent long. She said you promised the house, he murmured. Pushed repairs, furniture to show we'd care for your inheritance. Now I see it was all lies. James, you always see good in people, but types like Vanessa target trusting ones. I couldn't imagine. He looked broken. We spent fortunes on wedding, furniture, all her whims. Thought it'd pass, she was stressed. Dad cautiously. Did she control other parts of your life? James nodded. Constantly. Dissuaded friend meets, scenes over work delays, phone checks. I blamed wedding nerves. Now I don't know what to think. I saw his world crumble, but he wasn't ready to admit fully. I need to talk to her, hear her side. He left. I knew Vanessa would manipulate again, blame me, twist. But I couldn't stop him. As expected, Vanessa acted fast. Hysteria, accused me of lies to family, called mom in tears, claiming I was mad with envy, wrecking their marriage, declared all I told James slander, even called my school director, hinting instability to get me fired. But crucially, the crack formed. Dad on my side, James doubting, no longer Vanessa's puppet. Final blow. Vanessa showed at my house, unexpectedly a week post. Reveal. Crossed threshold without fake smiles. Think you're so smart? She hissed venomously. Turned my husband against me. No one'll believe your tales anyway. You've just this house and your pathetic life. I calmly turned on phone recorder. What do you want, Vanessa? Her face hardened. Actually, here to negotiate. Want money? We can pay gradually. James and I are tight on cash now, but we'll settle over time. I want nothing from you, I replied. Just stop lying and manipulating. Fine, live as you want, but I've told everyone you're unstable and greedy. Parents on my side. And my husband, he'll forgive anyway. I said nothing, just smiled. That recording became my last ace. That evening, I shared it with James and Dad. James listened uninterrupted. And, he cried, first time through all this. I don't recognize myself. How was I so blind? Next day, James packed and left Vanessa. Filed for marriage annulment on deception and fraud. Vanessa tried scandal, sent teary videos to relatives accusing me and James of conspiracy. But now, no one bought her hysterics. Too many saw her acts, heard recording, knew debts. Mom held out longest. Hard to admit error. At first, defended Vanessa, urged James give chance. But with debt docs and threat recording, she caved. 2 months later, Vanessa left town. Behind? Just debts, empty promises, ruined ties. James grieved the divorce hard but slowly recovered. Found side work. Shouldered Vanessa's credits on him, even smiled eventually. We saw each other more. Like childhood though, wounds fresh. Dad tried hard supporting me and brother. Admitted underestimating. Too long indifferent. Mom edged toward reconciliation. First timid calls, then casual visits. Like all past was minor mix-up. Weeks passed. James still paid debts. Vanessa left nearly $3 million in credits on him. Plus huge on unreturnable furniture, repairs. He moved to a small one-bed on outskirts. Worked 2 jobs. Reclaiming self-respect gradually. Sometimes pained. Emily, I don't get how I blinded so. So many red flags. Not your fault, I'd say. Types like Vanessa master people control especially without timely stops. Our bond slowly rebuilt. At first, James avoided deep past talks, but monthly grew open. We met weekly, walked heart to hearts like relearning siblinghood. Dad showed love his way. Month post-annulment, arrived with tools offering kitchen repair help. Sorry, I realized so late. How serious, he said simply. I should have stood up sooner for you and the house. True reconciliation. No excess words. Just shared work and building trust, not overnight. Mom much longer couldn't admit fault. Early apologies awkward. This could have been handled calmer. But I admit, Vanessa overdid. I took as first step. Gradually, more calls, visits first passing by, then openly. Sometimes she'd critique my decor or advise like nothing happened. But once, eyeing new kitchen curtains, Grandma would be proud. You kept the best of this house. For me, true reconciliation point. Mom accepted my choice even if not fully ready to apologize verbally. Over time, neighbors, colleagues, friends learned truth. Many wedding witnesses approached, supported, apologized for initially believing Vanessa. One ex-neighbor, now close friend, often said over tea, "Emily, can't believe I fell for those tales. You showed standing your ground matters even when all against." This experience taught me much. I learned even toughest battles for respect, loved one's memory, your home sometimes with kin. But without self-betrayal, you can withstand cynical lies. Half a year since my life flipped. The house once just strength, and grandma memories now symbolized victory over betrayal and weakness. I finished longed-for kitchen remodel, keeping beloved tiles and old cozy spirit grandma cherished. Spring, flower beds bloomed again, those roses we planted together. Weekends, small tea parties on veranda. Neighbors, sometimes colleagues. Dad dropped by. Mom, not always, but more without old tension. We relearned family, not perfect, but real. With James, ties stronger than before. He often helped house chores, sometimes evening chats. No reproaches, no grudges, just support. On that wedding anniversary, he came with gift. Small ceramic house like grandma's tree ornaments. Now your own charm, he said awkwardly. A home that won't go or vanish. I laughed, suddenly breathing free. We'd forgiven old hurts, released pain, stopped fearing repeats. Dad found his love way too. Weekly guy outings, shopping, news chats, even repair debates. In simple things, returned what I always lacked. Family warmth, support. Mom still sometimes sniped or tried parenting, but I no longer reacted sorely. She stayed herself, just closer, softer. A year post-all, I threw real housewarming dreamed since move. Almost everyone came. Family, friends, neighbors, even scandal witness colleagues. House filled with laughter, talks, baking scents. That evening, I felt truly home, not just walls, but heart of past and future. This wasn't just trial, but huge lesson. I learned boundary defense even against kin. Understood sometimes easier to leave, but far vital to stay, stand truth, preserve self. Now I know, even if seen inconvenient or selfish, main is self-honesty, life's most precious, facing kin without betrayal sense, soul at peace. The house they nearly took became symbol. Stubbornness isn't always flaw. Sometimes sole way to guard what you love. Thanks for sticking to the story's end. If you've had similar, comment how you coped. What kept you going? And remember, everyone deserves respect even if their truth clashes others' expectations.